Right. Are we all there? Yes, excellent. Well, thank you all for coming. This call, as it were. As you know, we are here today to talk about how to write about Africa. I would like to thank Mr. Binyavanga Wainaina for his part in the assembling the structure and such. You know, it's always nice to employ the natives. But time is short, of the essence. Let us jump right in. Always, how to write about Africa. Always use the word Africa or darkness or safari in your title. Subtitles may include the words Zanzibar, Maasai, Zulu, Zambezi, Congo, Nile, big, sky, shadow, drum, sun, or bygone. Also useful are words such as gorillas, timeless, primordial, oh, that's a good one, and tribal. Note that people means Africans who are not black, while the people means black Africans. The people, of course. The natives also work, I suppose. Never have a picture of a well-adjusted African on your cover of your book, or in it, unless that African has won the Nobel Prize. An AK-47, prominent ribs, naked breasts, use these. If you must include an African, do make sure that you get one in Maasai or Zulu or perhaps Dogon dress. Yes, quite. In your text, treat Africa as if it were one country. It is hot and dusty with rolling grasslands and huge herds of animals and tall, thin people who are starving. It is hot, or it is also very hot and steamy with very short people who eat primates. Don't get bogged down with precise descriptions. Africa's big, 54 countries, 900 million people who are too busy starving and dying and warring and emigrating to read your book. The continent is full of deserts, jungles, highlands, savannas, and many other things, but your reader doesn't care about all that. So, keep your descriptions romantic, evocative, and unparticular. Now, make sure you show how Africans have music and rhythm deep in their souls, and eat things no other humans eat. Do not mention rice and beef and wheat. Monkey brain is an African cuisine of choice, along with goat, snake, worms, grubs, and all manner of game meat, of course, game meat, of course. Make sure you show that you are able to eat such food without flinching, and describe how you learn to enjoy it, because you care. Now, taboo subjects. Ordinary domestic scenes, love between Africans, unless death is involved. References to African writers or intellectuals, mention of school-going children who are not suffering from yaws or Ebola fever or female genital mutilation. Throughout the book, adopt a Soto voice, in conspiracy with the reader, and a sad, I expected so much tone. It's quite effective. Establish early on that your liberalism is impeccable, and mention near the beginning how much you love Africa. Take advantage of this. If you are a man, thrust yourself into her warm, virgin forests. If you are a woman, treat Africa as a man who wears a bush jacket and disappears off into the sunset. Africa is to be pitied, worshipped, or dominated. Whichever angle you take, be sure to leave a strong impression that without your intervention and your important book, Africa is doomed. Your African characters may include naked warriors, loyal servants, diviners and seers, ancient wise men living in hermetic splendor, or corrupt politicians, inept polygamist travel guides, yes, prostitutes you have slept with. It might be a long book. The Lord servant, the loyal servant, that is, always behaves like a 7-year-old and needs a firm hand. He is scared of snakes, good with children, and always involving you in his complex domestic dramas. The ancient wise man always comes from a noble tribe, not the money-grubbing tribes like the Kikuyu, the Igbo, or the Shona. No. He has rheumy eyes, yes, and is close to the earth. The modern African is a fat man who steals and works in the visa office, refusing to give work permits to qualified Westerners who really care about Africa. He is an enemy of development, always using his government job to make it difficult for pragmatic and good-hearted expats to set up NGO and legal conservation areas. Or he is an Oxford-educated intellectual turned serial-killing politician in Savile Row suit. He's a cannibal who likes Cristal champagne, and his mother is a rich witch doctor who really runs the country. Yes. Among your characters, you must always include the starving African who wanders the refugee camp nearly naked and waits for the benevolence of the West. Her children have flies in their eyelids and potbellies, and her breasts are flat and empty. She must look utterly helpless. This is important. She can have no past, no history, no diversions ruin the dramatic moment. Moans are good. She must never say anything about herself in dialogue except to speak of her unspeakable suffering. Also be sure to include a warm and motherly woman who has a rolling laugh and who is concerned for your well-being. Just call her Mama. Mama. Her children, they're all delinquent. These characters should buzz around your main hero, making him look good. Your hero can teach them, bathe them, feed them. He carries lots of babies and has seen death. Your hero is you, if reportage, or a beautiful, tragic international celebrity aristocrat who cares for animals, if fiction, of course, yes. Bad Western characters may include children of Tory cabinet members, Afrikaners, employees of the World Bank, yes, certainly. When talking about exploitation by foreigners, mention the Chinese and Indian traders. Blame the West for Africa's situation. But don't be too specific. Broad brushstrokes throughout are good. Avoid having the African characters laugh or struggle to educate their children, or just make do in mundane circumstances. Have them illuminate something about Europe or America in Africa. African characters should be colourful, exotic, larger than life, but empty inside, with no dialogue, no conflicts or resolution in their stories, no depths or quirks to confuse the cause. Describe in detail naked breasts, young, old, conservative, recently raped, big, small, it really doesn't matter. Or mutilated genitals, or enhanced genitals, genitals in general, quite good. Any kind of genitals, really. Oh, and dead bodies, also good. Or better, naked dead bodies. Yes. Especially rotting, naked, dead bodies. Remember, any work you submit in which people look filthy and miserable will be referred to as real Africa. And you want that on your dust jacket, do you not? Do not feel queasy about this. You are trying to help them get aid from the West. The biggest taboo in writing about Africa is to describe or show dead or suffering white people. No, just avoid it. Animals, on the other hand, must be treated as well-rounded, complex characters. They speak, or grunt while tossing their manes proudly, and have names, ambitions, and desires. They also have family values. See how lions teach their children? Elephants are caring, and are good feminists or dignified patriarchs. So are gorillas. Never ever say anything negative about an elephant or a gorilla. Elephants may attack people's property, destroy their crops, or even kill them. Always, always take the side of the elephant. Big cats have public school accents. Hyenas are fair game and have vaguely Middle Eastern accents. Any short Africans who live in the jungle or desert must be portrayed with good humour, unless they are in conflict with an elephant or chimpanzee or gorilla, in which case they are pure evil. After celebrity activists and aid workers, conservationists are Africa's most important people. Do not offend them. You need them to invite you to their 30,000-acre game ranch or conservation area, as this is the only way you'll get to interview the celebrity activist. Often a book cover with a heroic-looking conservationist on it works magic for sales. And that's why we're here, isn't it? Anybody white, tanned, wearing khaki who once had a pet antelope or a farm is a conservationist. One who is preserving Africa's heritage. When interviewing him or her, do not ask how much funding they have, and do not ask how much money they make off their game. Never ask how much they pay their employees. Readers will be put off if you don't mention light in Africa. And sunsets, oh, of course. African sunsets are a must. It's always big and red. And there's always big sky. Wide empty spaces and game are crucial. Africa is a land of wide empty spaces. When writing about the plight of flora and fauna, make sure you mention that Africa is overpopulated. When your main character is in a desert or jungle living with indigenous people, anybody short, it's okay to mention that Africa has been severely depopulated by AIDS and war. Use caps for both AIDS and war, yeah. You'll also need a nightclub called Tropicana, where mercenaries, evil nouveau riche Africans, and prostitutes and gorillas and expats hang out. Always end your book with a Nelson Mandela saying something about rainbows or renaissances or something. Because you care. So, that has been our presentation today. Thank you once again to Binyavanga Wainaina. A weird tribute, brother. But I've always respected your work. I hope to be as fearless in my truth-telling as you were. Rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace.